Hi, I'm John of Figurative Arc. Welcome to my channel. I am a visual artist, and I'm interested in talking about Star Wars today because Star Wars, when it came out in 1977, was very innovative in a number of different ways. The special effects certainly were one where we have this magnificent opening shot in the original Star Wars episode. At the same time, George Lucas, the creator and director, was still restricted on some of the things that he could do because of technology. As a result of that, we got a really good balance between the effects and the story. The story had interesting characters and interesting performances. Also had this mythology that George Lucas was able to focus on based on the work of Joseph Campbell, who identified these common elements that he called the hero's journey. Fast forward to when George Lucas came back to do the prequel series, which the first one, The Phantom Menace, was released in 1999. He had all kinds of new toys and things that he could focus on to visually tell the story, but many people would argue that the original trilogy Star Wars series was far superior to the prequels. Because of this preoccupation, there were so many different choices that the story got lost in a number of different ways. We started getting fascinating technological creations of characters, but the characters were preposterous, and the characters did preposterous things.
To the Supreme Chancellor.
We also had absolutely dreadful dialogue.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
You got too many ingredients in the soup and the recipe, and it all just becomes not that good. Sometimes having too many choices or too many options is not necessarily a good thing, because then the ability to pick the right choices when you have fewer or more appropriate choices, your chances are better if you have 5 choices versus if you have 100 choices and sifting through all that. I thought about this in my own work, and I started using restriction, purposefully restricting the choices that I had available. So I'm going to use painting as an example. When I started off painting, I used oil painting, and the landscapes were kind of like this one, very much in a style that I think a lot of people recognize. And so then I started saying, how can I restrict what I can do? So I started to do elements of the painting where I just used pools of paint and created kind of a flow, and then did that as a base like this painting, and then started using brushes and things on top of it. So then I started other paintings where I restricted it more, where I said, I'm only going to use a brush for 2 elements in this entire painting. In this seascape, that was the palm trees and the reflections on the beach. Everything else was created with tools other than brushes. And then eventually I got into paintings where I didn't use any brushes at all, like this one of this kind of primitive serpent-like dragon, had no brushes in it at all. And so that allowed me to really become more creative, versus if I had all the tools at my disposal, to me, and this is my own opinion of my own work, it became more interesting as I started restricting myself. What do you think about my Star Wars analogy? Did you find that the case with Star Wars if you happen to watch those movies? Do you find that maybe having too many choices is not, sometimes it can be a good thing, but a lot of times maybe not? Leave comments below. I'd be really interested in hearing your thoughts about this topic. If you like content like this, I hope you'll consider subscribing and give a thumbs up, because that really does help other people find the channel. And until next time, toodaloo.